Congressman James Walkinshaw, a Democrat from Virginia, who joins us live from Capitol Hill. What about that on the body cameras? Take that up first for us. You heard Ali's reporting that the White House is trying to pin the blame on the shutdown. What's going on with not having this body camera footage?
This administration has had plenty of time and more than enough money to outfit ICE and CBP officers with body cameras. I think it's quite clear they don't want body cameras because they don't want the American people to see up close and personal the death and destruction, the kind of violence that's taking place here. If there was body cam footage of these two incidents, the level of outrage across the country would be exponentially higher than it is today. Mark Wayne Mullen is smart enough to know that. He doesn't want body cameras on these officers.
These traffic stops being halted, or at least partially halted, we'll see how that policy plays out. What about that as a response, and what else do you think needs to be done in the short term?
Well, one, it's too late. And what the agency has said is that they're going to halt traffic stops so that they can train officers, better train officers to conduct traffic stops. Ironically, precisely that kind of better training is what Democrats like myself have been demanding for more than a year. They should have agreed with us when we were demanding that they slow down this mass deportation agenda and train these officers, many of whom were rushed through their initial training as they were desperately trying to add thousands and thousands of new ICE and CBP officers. They should have got the training right the first time. They didn't. As a result, 2 individuals are dead.
I thought even in speaking to some Democrats, those have been critical of the administration, that things were changing in recent months. Did you? And do you think they have? And this is just a couple of incidents that have bucked that particular trend, or nothing changed in terms of the way immigration enforcement is happening?
I think what has changed is that they've stepped back from the large-scale kinds of surges that we saw in Chicago and Minneapolis, where they would surge thousands of officers into one city or jurisdiction, creating a media circus and a whole series of protests and counter-protests and conflict. But they've continued, somewhat below the radar, now spread out across the country, this very aggressive and, as we've learned in the last week, very violent mass deportation agenda. So the approach and tactics have changed, but it's still incredibly aggressive, still violent, still failing to target the so-called worst of the worst. As far as we can tell, neither of these 2 gentlemen who are dead are in the worst of the worst category.
And a mistaken identity in one or both cases as well that we've reported on. What about from where you sit in the halls of Congress? Is there anything being talked about or worked on that we should know about?
Well, Democrats on the Homeland Security Committee are demanding full and independent investigations of these incidents. If we had an independent FBI, they could conduct it. Local law enforcement should be able to get access to the evidence to conduct investigations of these incidents. We have legislation requiring better notification of Congress when there are deaths caused by ICE or CBP in DHS operations. So we're going to continue working to get transparency and accountability for the American people.
There's not much you can do, though, from a practical perspective, is there?
Well, look, Democrats are going to continue to demand common sense reforms. My hope is that maybe after these incidents, the administration or some of our Republican colleagues will join us and say enough is enough. We can enforce the law and do it in a way that's humane and doesn't lead to carnage and death in American streets like we've seen in Maine and in Texas recently.
We certainly thank you for your time on this. I know you have to go and you have to vote later this hour, so I'll just ask you one quick question about that. It's on a completely different subject. We are having, but it's one, in fairness, that the American people actually are interested in. People get into this all the time. It's like, how much daylight are we going to have? This daylight saving time bill. Okay, so Senator Rick Scott, Republican of Florida, is actually going to join us in our next hour of coverage. But where do you stand on this this whole idea of getting rid of daylight saving time? How's the vote going to go, and where do you stand?
So the vote this week would establish basically permanent daylight savings time across the country as the default. And, for states like Virginia that I represent, that maybe wouldn't be a dramatic change. But there are places in the country, if we had permanent daylight savings time, it means it would be pitch black dark at 9 a.m.
Right.
So even more kids would be waiting outside for their school bus in the dark. especially in the winter for the folks I represent, I think that'd be a big problem.
So you'd rather, yeah, it's like people, it seems like, am I wrong, but everyone seems to want to get rid of changing the clocks, but there is a disagreement on which way we should do it.
Yeah, and I think the reality is it impacts different parts of the country differently.
Right.
So, I think it makes sense to preserve some flexibility for states to make the decision that makes the most sense for them.
Okay. Well, again, Senator Scott will be on next hour, Republican of Florida, on that and other subjects. But Congressman Walkinshaw, Democrat, Virginia, we thank you, as always, for your time. Thank you, sir. Okay.
Thanks for having me.
12 minutes past the hour.